It's a very good evening and welcome to Network. My name is Sphumelele Zondi. We continue with our Youth Month tech stories by going to Kenya to find out how young farmers are using technology to boost their businesses over there. In South Africa, we spend time with young tech creatives in the Jozi Hub. Our studio discussion with Rebecca Munyuki from IBM will be about bridging the ICT skills gap. We are live. Find us on SABC Network on Facebook and Twitter and Instagram as well. It's newsnetwork@sabc.co.za and email. Let's start with your technology and social media news. In the last week, Telkom paid out dividends to its shareholders for the first time since 2011. The parastatal is facing retrenchments as well. This is something it says is necessary as it continues with its turnaround strategy. Telkom also says affordable broadband and improving the quality of its network is something it wants to embark on.
Many have welcomed Telkom's planned turnaround strategy, but the company is now operating in a different market. This is a market that is dominated by mobile and data, and Telkom has huge competition there. CEO Sipho Masego says he is aware of the work that needs to be done in order to stay relevant in the market.
Last year, we invested 5 billion rand to modernize our network to make sure that people can get a more reliable speed.
While this may be the case, South African internet costs and speeds are often criticized. Telkom says it is also trying its best to improve things in this regard.
Our industry is a very funny one because people expect to get higher speeds, better quality broadband for less. So they want to pay a lot less than they paid last year.
And in order for this to happen, Masego says some sacrifices would have to be made elsewhere in the company's business. He says he does understand that reduced network costs would also help in democratizing the internet so people in poor communities can have access to.
Digital media is changing how news is reported and how we consume the news. Speakers and panelists at the Minel Media Exchange say new technology tools enhance our media experience. They say we should embrace these new technologies. Journalists, educators, students and other media practitioners met in Johannesburg to discuss the future of their industry in South Africa. Digital media was a huge part of the discussions at the Minel Media Exchange. The conference was started by South African journalists who had been fellows at Duke University, and they asked the university to also get involved.
We want to create a platform where the whole community can come together, the managers and the students, community journalists, tech developers. We want to bring the whole community to talk to each other here.
Some journalists find the new tools daunting, but speakers like Tegan Betzer, who is a digital media strategist at SABC Digital News, say new technologies should be embraced as they don't change journalism ethics.
It may be new tools, there may be new modes of doing things, but the fundamental principles remain the same.
There are many free digital methods that enhance the reporting and storytelling experience. Social media is one, but there are also means of searching for information like Google Advanced Search.
By using advanced search and learning the tools, the different tools you can use to search with, it actually just turns you into a searching whiz. So you are able to qualify information easier.
Wits University spoke about its New Wave report, which reveals that the majority of the population does not have internet access. This is despite that internet usage is growing rapidly in South Africa. A 25-year-old software engineer in Kenya has developed an online-based application that offers farmers information on the best seeds to plant. This is to increase food production. Sarah Kimani has the story for us in our continuing series of celebrating Young Africa's young techies.
It is mid-morning in central Kenya when we meet Harun Munuve inside one of his 2 greenhouses inspecting a crop of capsicum. Munuve began commercial farming 2 years ago after completing a diploma course in organic farming.
Farming is a way of living, it's a way of life, and for any person who wants to make money or any person who wants to succeed in life, I think farming is the best industry to venture in.
And there is something else that is his and thousands of other young Kenyans' way of life, e-farming.
The best thing about internet for a farmer is that we get to share information and we get to know the current prices, the best inputs to use, and so much more in the internet.
During our visit, he stops to take pictures of the crop and download on his Facebook page, tweets his successes, and even refers to the internet for where he's likely to get the best market for his crop.
We don't have vegetables here.
Several kilometers away in Nairobi, information technology meets agriculture. Another young Kenyan, having identified a gap in getting better produce, has developed an online tool that connects farmers to climate-smart seeds. The free app, known as Mbegu Choice, is the first of its kind in Africa.
When I went to college and did IT, I thought that there's a gap in agriculture. IT has not been explored in agriculture as compared to commerce. So I thought that niche I'll make improvement for that niche.
25-year-old Ronald Misigo, the software engineer who developed Mbegu Choice, Swahili for seed choice, says the platform has information on more than 200 seed varieties with information on where best to plant a certain seed variety and the best time to plant it.
The farmers will have all the information they need. We expect that it will contribute to increased production and increased food security in this country.
Harun is among the first farmers to try out Mbegu Choice.
Mbegu Choice has just come like a game changer. It's like a lifesaver for us because we used to get information from agro dealers or from neighbors or from just people you don't know if the information is correct. But now Mbegu Choice has made it a one-stop shop where you just Google and get the information you want. You have choices you can make. If you want a certain maize variety like Duma, the one I've grown here, then it's out of stock. You are given another choice which does the same like Duma in your area.
We needed to make that a tool which is compatible with mobile phones, computers and laptops. People are into Facebook. Right now the survey says 70% access Facebook through their mobile phone. So we thought that's a great avenue. We use what people are using.
Agriculture is among Kenya's top employers and income earners. Statistics indicate that at least 26.1 million people in Kenya, out of the country's population of 42 million people, use the internet. The developers hope to tap in at least 2 million people within the first 7 months of the app's development.
The first step is making a tool. The second step is making sure that farmers know there is a tool. Because you can make a great tool and the farmers don't know. Nobody's using it. So it will be a waste of time.
Once that is done in Kenya, he hopes to move it to the rest of the continent. For a long time, farmers in Kenya have depended on the government through extension workers to learn about agriculture in the country. This bureaucratic and tedious method has kept many young people off agriculture. However, with the introduction of online tools, young people are now coming back to the farms. In fact, many of them are now finding farming to be cool. The convergence between IT and agriculture may well be Kenya's answer to unemployment.
Let's take a look at what's been making headlines in the rest of the technology space.
Hello and welcome to another edition of the SABC News Tech Wrap. I'm Lebogang Sejake.
And I'm Matiba Sibanyoni. Always On has launched what it calls SA's first Wi-Fi calling service. Do you make any Wi-Fi calls?
I do, actually. I do a lot. WhatsApp is one of them, and Viber and Skype. Yeah.
Yes. So when they made this announcement, a lot of people said, what do they mean SA's first Wi-Fi calling? Because I use WhatsApp, either I use my data or I use data on the Wi-Fi to make calls. Well, the big difference here is that firstly, it's SA based, it's a South African company, and you can make Wi-Fi calls to landlines. We spoke to Always On, and this is what they had to say.
The first thing is that when we use our service, the person who you're phoning, you don't need them to have this, the same service. So you can terminate calls onto traditional cell phone numbers, onto traditional landline numbers. You can basically break out to the traditional telephony networks, whether that be the mobile networks or the landline numbers.
Talking about Wi-Fi, Vodacom Business in Nigeria has rolled out Wi-Fi in a college. Vodacom Business Nigeria has rolled out Wi-Fi services to the Federal Science and Technology College in a suburb called Yaba in Lagos. The telecommunications company says their Power to You project aims at bridging the digital divide that exists in communities and schools without access to information communications and technology. And they also say that they aim at enhancing the learning and teaching environment for both learners and teachers.
still on Africa, Ericsson this week released their 2015 mobility report, which basically looks at what will be happening in technology and mobility till the year 2020, basically the predictions. And what they're already seeing in 2015 is that people who use tablets actually consume more video than people who use smartphones or phablets. So the study also reveals that 60% of all online traffic will come from video by the year 2020.
While on the continent, Malawi's first technology startup incubator, mHub, is hosting a Tech Fest on Friday, June 19th. The event is a platform that will give upcoming innovators a chance to showcase their applications to the corporate world and the media. 3D printing has become very big nowadays, and now they just recently launched a 3D printed car.
This is the first time that a complex cyber-mechanical device like a car has been designed by a global community, signed by the person who designed this car, built in one show, and driven off into the history books.
This complex cyber-mechanical device called the Strati was first rolled out in September of 2014 at the International Manufacturing and Technology Show in Chicago. People's favorite microblogging site, Twitter, announced on Thursday, June 11th, that Dick Costolo is stepping down as chief executive and will be replaced by co-founder Jack Dorsey on an interim basis. Costolo will officially step down on July 1st.
It's SABC Network on Facebook and Twitter, News Network at sabc.co.za on email. After the break, we'll talk about the ICT skills gap. Stay with us.
SABC News seeks to be the biggest, the most extensive and diverse news organization on the continent. Our mission is to provide accurate and credible news and current affairs programming throughout the day. We are committed to covering every part of the continent. We reflect the world to Africa and Africa to the world. SABC News, Africa's news leader. Now available throughout the continent.
Welcome back. It's SABC Network on Facebook, Twitter and Instagram. It's Youth Day in South Africa on June 16. The youth of 1976 made way for today's youth to have opportunities. Though the struggle opened many doors, South Africa still has a skill shortage, especially in the ICT sector. Producer Lebusi Jagger spent time with some young technology entrepreneurs to find out about their ups and downs in trying to penetrate this particular industry.
Blood was shed to pave way for today's youth. The youth of 1976 took it upon themselves to fight against the apartheid government's unfair education system, an uprising that opened doors of opportunity for this generation.
Well, my name is Andrew Similani. I'm the co-founder of Youth Content Communications, which is also known as Black Nation Media.
I'm Stefina Zwane, and I am co-director for Sorrel Media.
I'm Salamina Musesa, and I am lucky enough to have her as my business partner.
My name is David, and I'm a director at Lumkani Fire Detection.
These young tech entrepreneurs are living proof that the June 16 Soweto uprising was not in vain. However, there has been a paradigm shift, and young people today face different kinds of struggles.
I think our biggest struggle mostly is sort of defining and understanding ourselves.
I think today's youth's biggest struggle is definitely unemployment.
I think the biggest struggle is apathy. A lot of young people today are, waiting for others to kind of roll up their sleeves and take charge.
Well, taking charge of their destiny was no problem for these young startups.
Well, Black Nation Media is a digital publishing agency. What we focus on is creating content for young people in this country and content by young people in this country. I think our biggest thing is to connect young people and brands, but above and beyond that, we just want to provide information to young people.
Though being players in the information communications and technology field, these startups do admit that there is still a shortage of young South Africans in the tech space.
I think what's important for us as young South Africans is to start collaborating more, because there's so much power in learning from other people who've already done what you're trying to do. And one thing that I've realized about just traveling around Africa is, confidence and that self-belief it's almost like they have it in droves, where South Africans are still lagging behind even there.
There are some for-profit and not-for-profit companies who are doing a lot of, coding programs, which you can do online. It's built on the premise that there is internet access. And in my experience in informal settlements is that is obviously not there. It's mobile-based. So until such time as those platforms move onto a mobile basis or move into some kind of basic education paradigm, a school program, even if it is privately run, we're not going to see advanced technical expertise coming from previously disadvantaged backgrounds.
And joining us in studio to talk about the worrying information communications and technology skills gap is IBM Africa and Middle East performance marketing leader Rebecca Munyuki. Hello, and thank you for being a part of our network.
Thank you for being here.
Now, Rebecca, would you say that it's true that there's an ICT skills gap?
It is true that there is a gap, because when you find some specific topics on technology, whether it's analytics, whether it's cloud, whether it's cognitive computing, we're finding that you have to source certain people from certain niche areas, and it is a skills gap. But I think on the basic level of IT, whether it's admin, etc., there is an abundance of people available to fill those spaces. But when it comes to niche areas like advanced technologies, yes, we still have a long way to go.
Why is this?
I think it's because also the digital space is moving at a faster pace. The technology world is ever changing. Every time you come up with a new idea, someone's come up with a better idea. So I think at the end of the day, the clients want more advanced technology. Also, people are wanting to make sure that we find solutions to the problems that we have in businesses. So at the end of the day, you'll find that it's not going to be stable. It's not going to be stagnant. It's going to be always revolving. So we need to keep up. And I remember talking to one technical leader, and he was saying, I wish I had that predictive tool to just know what's the next technology that we need and have the right skills ready and available to deploy.
Oh, wouldn't that be brilliant? And now, what can young Africans do if they want to keep up? Because we don't have these predictive tools, do we?
We do it to some extent, but I think from an African perspective, we are full of possibilities. I have seen and I've met a lot of young South Africans who have inspired me, and they are looking at making a change and a difference in their continent. And we heard about the young gentleman who's in agriculture. So I think always start from where you are, whether it's school, at high school, start young and start finding which things that actually inspire you at a young age. So we're talking about Youth Month. So if you love arts, if you love agriculture, if you love cars, whatever it might be, find a way to make sure that you use ICT as an enabler to help you advance what you need to do. So we're not saying lose who you are as a young, vibey person where they love fashion, but find ways for technology to actually...
How though? Because you're saying if a young person loves fashion, they probably think technology has nothing to do with the fashion industry.
Oh, it absolutely has. So in IBM, we've got what we call commerce. Commerce is one of actually our softwares that we deploy. So we've got digital marketing tools for mobile apps. So if you're running a business on fashion and people are trying to buy, you find a way to use that technology and the software to actually announce what products are going out to market, and also client engagement. So you find your clients are not enjoying what you might be offering on market, and you're not making the profits that you're looking at. There's some companies out there, including IBM, who are putting out products that help you to actually make sure that you understand what your clients need, what colors they want, even to that point, but make sure that you've got the right stock for them and make sure that they're also able to continue to grow and advance in the technology space within their industries.
Rebecca, there's also an issue of access to these technologies, especially when it comes to the African continent. What can be done there? Because you find that young people in the cities have access, but young people in not even far from the cities, maybe the townships or even the rural areas, don't have access. Okay, so I think on the issue of skills access to IT. So you'll find that there's a lot of, I would say there's an impact on the environment that you're in and the way you actually leverage the access that you have. For instance, you'll find that we have free Wi-Fi, but sometimes the free Wi-Fi is in a mall and it's not necessarily available at the school. So you'll find that the young people have to go to the mall, but they only go there during weekends. So during that time, during the week, they miss out on that. So I would say if we had a lot more access to internet access within the communities, the rural areas, that would definitely help because a lot of young people have phones. And I think if we can start from that level of making sure that we give them access to the technologies through their phones that they have, because not all of them will have a laptop or a desktop, or even if they do get the desktop, there's no one else to maintain the desktop. So sometimes you find in some schools, in some areas, they have desktops which are gathering dust, which is a sad issue, but there are a lot of young people who are joining clubs and network groups that are helping them to advance themselves. Who should be spearheading this process?
Every individual in our community. So I can start by finding that niece or nephew that wants to get into the ICT space. You can find a teacher in your community. High school students can help, the primary students, the university students should be talking to the students in the high school and so forth. If everyone takes a young person and mentors them, that'll make a difference.
Rebecca Munyuki from IBM Africa and the Middle East, thank you very much for being a part of our network tonight.
Thank you.
Remember, it's SABC Network on Facebook and Twitter. It's News Network at sabc.co.za and email. Let's take a break.
Information-hungry viewers stay with SABC News, as issues on the West are different from issues on the East or here in Johannesburg. So it is not surprising that people who follow the news know that there are two things for sure: that anything can happen, and SABC News will tell you when it does. Because we keep the nation fully informed. We are SABC News.
You are on SABC Network on Facebook and Twitter and Instagram as well. Now, a report by the African Union and the Thabo Mbeki Foundation says billions leave Africa in illicit financial outflows. Mobile money is one of the methods that is now used for this. The cybersecurity report by the Telecommunications Service Providers Association of Kenya says fraudsters have found a way to commit fraud using mobile money.
Mobile phone fraud also contributes to the illegal outflows. In Kenya, for instance, the country is said to be losing more than 40 million shillings or over $400,000 monthly to new mobile phone fraud. Individuals or organizations buy thousands of SIM cards offering free or low-cost calls to mobile numbers. This is done in a bid to accumulate more talk time and sell it off for personal gains.
We've had this sort of scarcity theory. So, people feel that if I don't take that opportunity, somebody else will. And we need a better moral compass, right? That's what it's about. And I think a better moral compass and a penalty system, which makes it expensive, horrible, a nightmare to get caught in that situation.
But now, the AU and Thabo Mbeki's commission have offered solutions going forward.
Today, I think that we are all aware that the African Union is speaking about how do we finance our program? How do we make sure that we don't put program and then we just go to partners and to finance them at 97%, at 100%, and so forth. So alternative source of funding is very, very crucial to Africa.
The runaway IFFs are said to have hampered Africa's growth in a big way and now threaten to derail the set Agenda 2063. Agenda 2063 is the African Union Development Framework, which seeks to make Africa more integrated, prosperous and peaceful.
Here's what some people have been sharing in social media. Listeners of South Africa's Metro FM have been paying tribute to late DJ Eddie Zondi. He died a year ago this week. The social media outpouring is because of the music tributes on Metro FM. The International Criminal Court has asked South Africa to arrest Sudanese President Omar al-Bashir. He is in the country for the African Union Summit. Some in social media agree with the request, some do not. The AU's Agenda 2063 is also a chatting point that is trending. It is the body's next target discussed in its Johannesburg summit. And that's all we have for you. Find us on SABC Network on Facebook, Twitter and Instagram. It's newsnetwork@sabc.co.za and email. We leave you with a little American girl who has become a YouTube sensation by channeling her inner Aretha Franklin in her dance routine. From me and the rest of the team, happy Youth Day, and let us use the talents we've been blessed with. Bye-bye.